Hi, so welcome to the GYG podcast. My name's Jeevan. I'm a GYG Young Media Reporter. This is my first interview, so I'm very excited and I hope you guys are excited too. So today we are speaking to some small business owners to see how they have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic. So Elliot, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Elliot Reid. I'm the owner of the Revitalised Clinic, where we provide services to benefit people who are in pain, to eradicate pain, to improve people's mental health and to improve their fitness via one-to-one and now on a video call basis.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Layla. I run House of Layla, which is yoga classes, meditation sessions. I also do Indian head massage and something called soul sessions, which is a mix between the yoga, the meditation, and like a mentoring kind of system.
The big general question that we're looking at today is how has coronavirus impacted your business? Obviously, on Monday, we had the announcement from the Prime Minister that all non-essential shops and services are to close. So obviously that's taken a big hit for you, who usually sees clients in person, I'm assuming. So how have you had to adapt your business and how have you had to manage?
Yeah, so I think that in regards to your question, I think that there are two factors going on here. First of all, there is the expectation for business owners and for business to become all of a sudden more entrepreneurial overnight, and that even though this crisis has affected our economy so much that it's shrunk by a third, there's some expectation that entrepreneurs are supposed to adapt their businesses, and yes, that is possible. So for example, we're offering video calls, Layla is doing online yoga, we're doing online treatment and online fitness, but at the same time, I mean, the overheads for the clinic are about 10 grand a month. So that would be the equivalent of overnight, me then having to employ someone who's on 120 grand a year just to sit on their sofa and do nothing. Now, it would be quite magical if I was to all of a sudden be able to leverage my business to cover that cost. I've been able to factor in what the government is saying that they're going to be able to do over the next month or so in terms of helping small businesses. And I've been able to reduce the long-term costs somewhat, but I still expect to go in about £20,000 to £30,000 worth of debt before I then start seeing a return. So what I'm going to have to do is do as much as I can to leverage my business, but then as well as that, I'm going to have to look elsewhere for funds, whether that is to, most likely it's going to be to get a job. I'll do my part to help in this situation and get a job when it comes to caring, so become a carer or to become a delivery driver or some sorts to try and cover overheads as much as I can.
Wow, it's like a massive thing though, like your entire livelihood is affected, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, at least I'm not sick. Do you know what I mean? I've still got a fighting chance. I think I've been talking to a few doctors, and I think that the reality is that the death toll is a lot higher than what people think it is. If this was to run riot in the UK, you're looking at least 1 million people passing, easy. So I can't complain. I'm 28 years old. I'm probably going to hit 85, 90 still. I've got a long time to make this back, but a lot of people don't. So I'm not complaining.
Mm. So the government have been saying that they're going to offer support to self-employed people, small business owners. Have you received any help or support from the government or local council, and do you think that support would be sustainable?
Yeah, so I don't know whether the support will be sustainable or not, because I'm not a politician. I don't know how much the government have in reserves. I don't know how they expect to raise the amount of money that they expect to raise. I have to say that I'm not a Conservative supporter one bit. I'm definitely not a Tory at all. But I would say that the government have advocated, they're saying that they're going to go above and beyond for small businesses. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative. The problem is that if this support comes a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, the debt that businesses would have accumulated before that comes, it would be the equivalent of someone starving themselves for 2 or 3 months and then all of a sudden getting a big platter of food. If you're dead, you're not going to be able to eat it. So it's the same thing for businesses. Yes, it's great that they're putting all this support out, but I hope that it comes in time because there's going to be a lot of businesses far more vulnerable than mine to this economic downturn that are going to suffer the consequences big time. And I would actually advocate, and I would actually say that small businesses are actually going to be able to deal with this a lot better than big businesses. The problem is that if big businesses die, their employees or the employee's state of employment dies with them. And then you've got a massive problem when it comes to people being out of jobs, which will affect businesses even more so than the COVID-19 pandemic, because if people don't have jobs, they can't pay for certain services.
So are you worried about your business right now? Do you think that you will survive coronavirus?
I think I'll survive. I don't think that the business will be in the same state when this all comes around again. In terms of, I don't think it will be in the same state when the threat of coronavirus is over, because I think economically we're going to have to adapt. I won't say I'm scared. I'd be scared if someone was going to kill me or my family members, but I'm not. You know, it's at the end of the day, like it's a business, right? My greatest concern is for my team members, because I've built a business to provide 10 people now with an income stream. And once again, if the business dies, then their income stream dies with it, which is a big issue. So I would say that I'm scared, but I'm concerned, and I'm working on that concern. I'm taking actions every day to mitigate the risk as much as I can.
Mm. So you've been talking about how you've been doing video sessions with your customers, how you're trying to stay in contact with them. What do you think the lasting effect will be on your business post-coronavirus, in the sense that maybe some of the online stuff that you do, you might carry on with it? How far do you think it's going to affect that?
Potentially so. I suppose two factors, right? So first of all, when it comes to the economic downturn that we're likely to expect after this, it means that luxuries will not be affordable for a lot of individuals. That means that we might have to change the way that we do, for example, personal training, which is a luxury. When it comes to being in pain, people who are in pain will pay through the nose to try and get that pain eradicated. So I don't think our pain services will take as much of a hit, but it might be that we have to start pivoting our personal training services to become more affordable, to become more of a group-based training session, something like that. I suppose that what this will do is act as an experiment or a testing phase for me to test whether or not we can actually provide good video-based services for example, the pain clinic. Now, if I can do that, it then becomes a challenge of contacting those individuals who are online who would benefit from that type of service. The issue is that pain affects all of us in a fairly unbiased manner. So you could be, for example, interested in yoga and you still be in pain. You could be interested in PlayStation and you could still experience pain. The way that online marketing works is I would have to try and find a niche of individuals who is more likely to experience pain than others, and a niche that is more likely to go online for their pain relief than want someone face to face, which is very difficult to do so. The other issue that you've then got is when it comes, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday actually, I'm reading up a bit on psychology at the moment, and I think that when it comes to people in pain, they revert to a much more irrational version of themselves. You might want to call that individual, that part of the individual that comes out, the inner child. They're in pain, they're under stress, and they want a solution to that stress. Now, if you had a child and they'd hurt their knee, and they said, well, what I want you to do, child, is go to the freezer, take out some ice, I want you to put it on your knee, I want you to keep it moving. Now compare that child to then another child whose mum picks them up and cradles them, says if it's going to be okay. They take out a wet flannel and they dab it on the injured area and they say everything's going to be okay. That child would probably be far more satisfied, and that is the benefit from seeing someone face to face when it comes to pain, is that you're tapping into a part of themselves which needs help and needs soothing that they might not be able to get online. But I will experiment with it, I'm sure. We'll see what happens.
I've been through some of these questions again with Elliot, and I've got another one that I'll ask at the end. So essentially the big question here is, how has coronavirus affected your business? Obviously on Monday we had the announcement that from Boris Johnson that all essential services are to stop, and as a yoga instructor and masseuse, obviously you have to see a lot of your clients in person. So how have you adapted your business to a world where we can't meet in person?
So very similar to what Elliot was saying, really, lots of online classes. So I've got a timetable that people can join. I also do private sessions as well. In terms of the people that are joining, it's mostly my members that are joining on, which means that although I don't get to see them, I can still help them keep their yoga practice going. We are having extra people join, which is nice. People are signing up for memberships, which I was surprised about. I thought that people would cancel their monthly membership as they won't be able to come to classes. But I've actually had a few people sign up for the membership because they want to practice yoga and it helped them get through, obviously, this time. I think in terms of the type of business that I do, it's different to Elliot's in the sense that, as Elliot said, the pain stuff is it's not a luxury, and yoga can be seen as a luxury, but it's all the mental health stuff that I think will mean that people will continue to do it. It's just encouraging people to look after their mental health, which is the hardest thing, really. I'm hoping that as time goes on, people will realize that they need it more and more. And I think at the moment, people are adjusting, trying to work out what it is that they do with their families, finding some kind of routine. And I think once people have that routine, then they'll have the space mentally to be able to maybe start their yoga practice again.
Cool. So the government have been saying that they're going to offer support to the self-employed and small business owners. Have you received any support from the government or the council, and do you think any support would be sustainable for your business?
Not yet. I'm hopeful, just as Elliot is. I have seen a lot of posts and I've been doing a lot of research, and I saw a video by Martin, the money expert, which I really recommend for self-employed people to follow. His website got some great links, and I think that we will get help. And I think that, again, it's the big businesses that will probably suffer the most, and we might feel it after when money is a bit more difficult to people. So I haven't seen it just yet, but I am hopeful that soon we will.
So obviously, with you having to adapt your business and manage it more online, do you think there'll be a lasting effect for your business? Maybe you'll keep on a few online classes. Like, what do you think the effect is going to be after the pandemic is over?
Yeah, so yoga's obviously all about going with the flow. And from a spiritual perspective, any struggles that we come across, it's an opportunity for growth. So that's kind of the way I've been looking at it. I'm not worried. And I think that we'll all find new ways to look after ourselves, and the self-care and the mental health stuff, I think, obviously there will be some people that are struggling and might then find yoga, and there might be people that aren't, but I think there is an opportunity for people to look deeper. You've seen those memes going around, we can't go out, so go inside. And I think that a lot of people will be doing that. I think in terms of the online presence, I think that I will be able to reach more people online, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. And so for me personally, going with the flow and looking at the positives, this has given me the push that I needed to go online, to then reach out to more people globally, to hopefully then build up my following, and to really be able to reach out to more people, because that's what it's about. The yoga journey is about connecting with more people, supporting people, and growing together. So yeah, I'm hopeful that although this will have a hit financially, that in the future there will be a lot of benefits from it.
Amazing. Both, great insight from both of you there. So just to kind of finish off, you guys both work in fitness and well-being and all that stuff. So what do you think the wider impact on society will be when we take away these services like personal training and yoga, especially in a time when people are anxious and they might be feeling sad and down, not being able to see friends and family, being trapped inside. What do you think the wider impact is when we take away these services that people use as an escape or a support system?
You want to go first, later, or me?
Go on, Ellie.
I don't mind.
I think that to answer that question, I think we need to break we need to break the services down into the components on which they're based. So, for example, Layla's might be mental stability superficially, and then deep spirituality on the deeper side of things. Personal training would be based, I suppose, around physical goal setting, prioritizing who you physically want to be in the future, and as well as that, prioritizing exercise each day to be part of your routine and to be part of who you are. If society were to do without these components, then you'd be looking at a society of individuals who are mentally sick or sicker, a society where individuals are on almost a hormonal deficiency. They're not getting these reward-based hormones that they get from spirituality or from exercise. So you might get an individual a society who is chronically depressed, who are chronically disempowered. And I mean, what that would eventually mean is you get basically a shift further along that Western cultural spectrum, where you're getting more Western diseases, more loneliness, more diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, anxiety, depression. So I think on a long-term, wider spectrum, I think those are the consequences which would definitely be worthwhile avoiding, that's for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with Elia. I mean, there's no way of knowing which way this is going to go. But I think that there is the word shift that he mentioned, shifts and transformations. You know, I think as part of being a yogi, you know, it's all about being positive and looking at the things that could come out of it. And although I completely agree with Elliot, I think there is a chance that there's shifts that will happen that we desperately needed. For example, more and more every day, you'd see families sitting on their devices, on their iPhones, on their iPads, you know, on their tablets, not speaking to each other. And now, because of this, people want to go out together to the parks and go for walks. And it's almost people want what they can't have. Or it is that. And I think that there is a possibility that that could then help with our mental health, because we were on a very, very slippery slope. God knows where it would have ended up. And now this has happened. There is an opportunity for a shift, for a transformation that may be what we needed, you know. And although obviously there are so many people suffering and there's so much tragedy in this, I think with every tragedy there is always something positive to come out of it. And I think that that's what we need to keep doing. We need to keep focusing on that stuff. I think that loneliness is something that we really need to be careful of. I think as a community we need to be aware that there are people that live on their own, young and old. There are people that are not on their own, but the loneliness is even worse because they're in a family where they feel completely neglected and they're not connecting in that way. So I think that if we are able to support each other and encourage each other to connect in a healthy way, I think that it has a chance to bring that mental health and physical health to a better place, to a more optimal place than how we were going.
Thanks guys for listening. Thank you to Elliot and Layla for joining us and informing us about what it's like to be a small business owner. Wishing you guys all the best in the coming weeks. So join us next time for another podcast. We'll be talking about life on lockdown with some other young people, and just go to wearegyg.co.uk and check us out on Instagram and stuff. Thank you.